What is up, guys? It is Dave, Duncan, Kyle, back from Metal Epidemic for another, you did that in sync there, for another review. And for this review, Duncan, Kyle and I have been checking out the new EP from UK experimental metalcore band Heriot. The band's new EP, Profound Morality, will be released on April 29th via Church Road Records. The old Church Road Records. Oh, they're not that old, so...
And it's just Church Road.
Moving on.
Old Church Road does sound like a street somewhere that someone lives on. Number 73 Old Church Road, son.
Yeah, I'm sure I delivered a paper there back in the day.
Were you a paper boy?
For one day, yes.
Wow.
I was a paper boy for one day. I delivered the papers to the wrong streets, and I never went back. True story.
Was that your choice or was that their choice?
It was mutual.
It was a mutual fuck yourself.
Yeah. It was a case of profound morality that Dave didn't go back.
I see what you did there, Duncan.
Thank you.
Anyway, Heriot, these guys, they've had a bit of a buzz about them over the last kind of year or so. They put out a few singles in 2021, which sparked a kind of lot of interest in them. And then fast forward to 2022, the band have just been on tour with Svalbard and Rollo Tomasi, and are now about to drop their new EP on the Church Road Records. The Profound Morality EP reflects different aspects of human behaviour in our modern society. How far people push their moral boundaries to achieve what they want, outdated modes of living and beliefs that harm our contemporary life and death, and how fulfillment can be achieved, be that helping or hurting peers, and how this shapes tyrants of industry and a clear separation of class and wealth. There you go. So Heriot, they are a four-piece band. They have a kind of dual vocal onslaught in the form of Debbie Goff and Jake Packer, but not your kind of standard hardcore / metalcore affair. Although I could see why that alone would bring them a lot of attention, because that side of the band is disgustingly heavy.
Punishing, Dave. Punishing is the word.
Punishing, yes. It's a kind of like, almost like a metallic sludge hardcore, but it's got that kind of like Boss HM2 type sound to the guitars as well. It's really, really filthy.
There's a riff on track 6 that might be the heaviest thing I've heard this year. And it comes out of nowhere, and when it hits you, it feels like you're being punched in the anus. Well, like a croquet mallet. I swear to God.
It's quite specific. Okay.
I thought large diameter or something like from. Honestly, and I'd already heard a few like punishing riffs on this, and then that kicked in, and I did kind of look at my iPhone. Other phones are available. I did kind of look at my iPhone as if to say, did this just glitch or did its anus fall out? No, it's all still in there.
All still there. Yeah, it's very. I mean, I've mentioned like hardcore, metalcore, sludge, but there's also a little bit of that kind of nails type power violence in there as well.
You're missing a keyword, Dave.
Sorry.
You're missing a keyword. Just say it and make me and Kyle happy. There's just a wee bit of the industrial in there.
Well, I'm getting to that.
Dave.
But kind of, I was thinking like a kind of nails meets like kind of code orange type, that can on the heavy side of things anyway. But it's like not just in the guitars. When that bass kicks in, I think it's about 50 seconds in on that first track. Woofed! That's thick. That bass tone.
I almost vomited when that kicked in.
Yeah,
it's Robin thick. That's how heavy it is.
Yeah. And I think like it's the combination of both. Like when you join that up with those like monstrous guitars, you're in for a heavy as fuck 20 minutes. It kind of made me think of that kind of LLNN heavy, you know, on the guitars and bass. That kind of like it's all like tone and girth. It's just like yes. However, as you said, that is not, you know, just the only thing they've got going for them. This is not a kind of paint by numbers hardcore EP. the band also inject a huge dose of this kind of industrial atmosphere into their sound.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of American Head Charge, like early American Head Charge.
Throwback.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think, and they utilize it really fucking well, like really, 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 really well. They're a band who, like, for an EP as well, they're not afraid to just do a couple of instrumental tracks in there, which are just purely designed to make you feel uneasy, like just kind of totally unsettled. And then the, you know, for maybe, in fact, I think it might be, I think there's 2 tracks back to back that do that, and I was like, when's the riff, when's and it didn't do it in the next track, and I was just like, when are we going to? And then the next track kicked in, and once again, Croquet Mallet.
Do the aims.
Right to the brown eye.
I could that kind of whole kind of menacing feel. I just got that the whole way through. To be honest, it just even when it's not out in front, you can still hear it lingering in the background. You know, and even when they're hitting you with those like chest punching riffs or blast beats or guttural vocals, that kind of dark undercurrent is just kind of sitting there in the background. And then like when the intensity and the riffs kind of pull back, they bring that atmosphere forward in the mix and really lean into those kind of clinical machine-like sounds. And it works brilliantly, like almost like a kind of like a glue that kind of holds it all together. Each track almost feels connected to the one before, you know, because it's
a smart thematic choice. You know what I mean? It doesn't surprise me that their blurb there for their EP is, you know, tailored around the theme. Because the full release feels tailored around the theme. You know what I mean? There's no at one point here where a track kicks and I'm like, that's interesting. Like there's a flow to it all the way through. Sure. Granted, it's a nightmarish one, but there's a flow from start to finish. You get the feel of like the fact that these songs have been crafted in order specifically to fall in place, which like we mentioned, or I mentioned it a lot. I don't know if you guys do as much as me, but I like that attention to crafting the particular flow of an album, where it's not like, well, we had 12 songs and we can only put 7 on the EP, so I had to pick our 7 best. Right, interesting. That's good. Well, that's great. Here's 7 disparate songs that weren't, you know. In the case of this one, it does feel like there's been care and attention that when one track is finishing, the next track should, in theory, thematically join on comfortably, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, even when they go from something like Near Vision, which...
Oh, dude, the end of Near Vision as well is another one that has a fucking rank riff.
Yeah, it's deliberately slow and punishing, but then it kind of just bleeds nicely into that next track, Mutagen. Mutagen. Yeah. Which, you know, and it just feels very seamless. You know, there's no, like, it's nothing abrupt or anything about it. The transitions are really smooth. And those more like the kind of ambient or kind of like ethereal moments, they really help kind of balance this whole EP out. You know, there's a lot of kind of contrast, and I think had they went for like 8 tracks of that like metallic intensity, it would have been probably very overwhelming. And I think it'd been more difficult to pick out the distinctive tracks of the EP, but having those kind of moments of calm and even like clean vocals on Coalescence.
This is the other thing that you've got to touch on is like they're utilizing techniques across the board, and that's in the dual vocals that you have as well. The fact that they have those female clean vocals that kick in parts just lifts the tracks up as well. It's a surprise, like 4-piece. That surprises me for a start. Once again, if I'd done my research, I would have found that out, but I don't do research. But for a 4-piece, they have a surprisingly complicated sound, but the dexterity and everything that they have and all those moments, even down to the vocals, just makes them even more interesting. Yeah.
I think that like the kind of cleaner side and the ambient stuff, it makes those heavier parts sound even uglier when like I didn't think that would be possible at all, to be honest, but it does. I think actually my kind of favourite track of this release was the title track, which closes the album. It's the kind of longest song at like roughly about 4 minutes, and probably the slowest of the bunch. But I really dug the kind of industrial sounds they used on that track against the clean guitars. And when those like heavy guitars kick in, it's just like this kind of like gargantuan wall of darkness. You know, it just kind of swallows you up. really clever use of different extremes on this track, and it works like perfectly as a kind of closing track. I think that, like, one thing we kind of slightly touched on at the beginning there, I think that the production of this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to reference LLNN because they're a band that also have that kind of colossal heaviness but play with atmosphere and industrial sounds, and I think Profound Morality has a very similar feel. From what I could find, the EP was produced by Jake and then mixed and mastered by George Lever, I think. That was the kind of information on the Coalescence video, so I'm assuming they did the whole EP, but fantastic job in creating something that's really like sonically devastating but also has a bit of a organic feel to it at the same time. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'd heard a couple of tracks like prior to hearing the EP, and I thought, yeah, this sounds pretty cool, but actually hearing it as a whole piece, as like those kind of that full EP, really, really good. I'm really excited to hear what these guys go on to do next. But Kyle, what you thinking about this one?
What you said, basically.
Oh.
I mean, the biggest, I had to write this in the biggest like handwriting I've ever written in my life on my notes. Bass tone.
Jesus Christ.
Holy fuck. The first song, and you're like 50 seconds in, and it's like
Yep.
Killed me. And that was it. After that, I was in. Just that industrial opening, that fucking bass tone, and I was just like, my second note is disgusting in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely... Those guitars,
like eating Chinese food in your pants,
right?
You know what I mean?
Hanging upside down.
Yeah. Disgusting. If anyone walked in and saw you eating spare ribs in your pants, they would think that's disgusting. But you know, look how happy he is eating spare ribs in his pants. So it's kind of happy, disgusting. I get you. I know.
Using my armpit as a napkin.
Okay, guys.
It's gone back to the disgusting again. Yeah.
Too far.
So yeah, it's what you said. Basically, it's just, it is intense as fuck. This is like we've listened to a lot of intense albums over the past couple of years, but this is just up there. It is just fucking what? How did you come up with the idea to make things this aggressive? I like that these bands are coming out with like new ways to be in your face, gut punchingly. Fuck you! I'm gonna rip your ears out. And it's sort of different in new ways, and I love that about this, especially when they bring it down and contrast it with that super ethereal, the breakups in the first track and Mutagen. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And then, Duncan's mentioned a couple of riffs, which are, yep. There's just 1 yup, 2 yup, 3 yup. And that last track, it just slows it down, keeps the intensity, just grooves on in. Love the production, by the way. There's a lot of nice natural... not raw, but just natural like feeling in the snare drum and stuff like that. And the guitars are fucking massive and thick and dense, and the bass tone just does everything it needs to and more. And I love the dual vocal. That her tone when she was singing on Mutagen was just beautiful. And then when they go screaming, they're fucking disgusting, but in a good way.
Yeah, she's got a great aggressive tone as well. Like really
absolutely love it. Yeah, it's super good. So I've heard a lot about these guys before because they were on tour with Roller Tomasi and stuff this year and all that. But yeah, I mean, this really surprised me. I didn't know what to expect really. I thought it was going to be more like Roller Tomasi and Svalbard and stuff, but nope, not at all. They're like industrial, you say, and the heaviest guitar tone you've heard this year. All right, and I'm on board.
Yep. Yeah, it's a cool mix.
It's great, yeah. Really
Duncan, anything else?
No, just like this is the sort of stuff that gets me excited about, like reviewing music. As we've mentioned it already. The UK seems to be producing an incredible amount of really high quality bands that seem to be tackling different. Like, it's not as if we're going through a phase where there's one specific genre that, you know, the UK's performing above and beyond in. It's across the board, from stuff that is very commercially viable to the stuff that's really on the darker end of extreme. Kind of makes me really wish that we had been out to see that tour now, because that lineup's fucking killer. I mean, when I mentioned American Head Charge, they don't sound like American Head Charge, but American Head Charge were like the masters for that small window of being really interesting with the way they added layers of kind of industrial elements, tone and atmosphere, and just big old fucking chunky riffs. And that's what I mean about the way it's incorporated. It's incorporated in a very, very, very similar way without sounding the same. It doesn't. It's just something that evokes that memory.
It feels like they've split the two up more than combined them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that aids the sound as well. It aids the listening experience because, like Dave said, it's so intense and so aggressive that if you had 20 minutes of that, which is probably the appropriate runtime for something like this, if you had 20 minutes of that without the other elements kind of keeping you active and drawing you as a listener into other parts of the songs, it'd be so full on. It'd be very, very difficult to appreciate the musicianship that's actually went into this. It's a very, very, very well crafted EP, and I think it's very easy as well to overlook those nuances on something so heavy because I can see with a degree of comfort this is one of the heaviest things I've heard this year. But that kind of belies the nuance that's in the songwriting here, and there's a great deal of picking the right spot to play this riff and making sure you build up or build back so the intensity hits. And Near Vision is like a great example of that. That track is intense, but about a minute and a half from the end, so you're getting this kind of blistering kind of 15-20 seconds that kick in. It starts to build up and then you just get smacked in the face. And I mean, it is one of the most just horrific sounding riffs. And then I kind of thought, well, that's what we've reached a peak. And then 2 tracks later, Enter the Flesh kicks in, and then it does exactly the same thing in a different way. It uses a different technique to get to it as well. And vocally, it is super interesting. There's more than one, even the aggressive side of things. There's more than one aggressive tone, which I enjoy. It breaks the sound out when the melody kicks in. It works really fucking well. It sits very comfortable and just breaks our sound up. Production's spot on for this release. It's one of the more interesting EPs I've heard in a while, where I actually genuinely feel like I've been taken on a journey. I've been taken on a journey musically, and at the end of this one, I was very much like yourself and very much like Kyle, sitting there going like that. Right, what's next? Like I could not wait to spin it again and go back through it. And I've spun this one a fair few times now, and it just keeps getting better every time I listen to it. So. They're definitely one to watch. I can see why there was a buzz about them last year. And there are this right here from the 2 bands you mentioned. They don't sound like Svalbard and they don't sound like Rolo Tomasi, but I understand why they're on those bills. And that makes a lot of sense to me. And I think they will have no shortage of bands that they can go out with over the next year. That sound is very, very adaptable. You put them on a deathcore bill easily. You can put them on something more hardcore,
even metalcore.
100%. You put them in loads of different areas as an opening act, and I would argue if they perform half as good live as they do on this EP, they might fucking steal the show. This would be tremendous to see live. You know what I mean? Tremendous to see live. So yeah, I'm recently a convert to the Heriot bandwagon, and I'm not getting off for a while, I think. Nice.
So ratings, what would you think for Profound Morality? This is really fucking good. I think I can see myself going back to this quite a bit because of that balance and the contrast. It's got a bit of heaviness which will really get you kind of into it, but there's also those kind of calm moments which are really nice as well. Really good production. It's just, it's done really well. I'd probably go 4.5, I think. I think it's a really good EP. Kyle, what do you think?
I can't disagree at all. I think, I'm going to go with the same because it just blew me away with how different and heavy and calm it is all at the same time. And that bass tone. No, you know what? It's 4 out of 4.5 out of 5 just on the bass tone alone. That's it.
4.5, nice. Duncan?
Your once, twice, 3 times 4.5. Yeah, that's like, I think we're all in the same boat here. Believe that hype. Heriot are the real fucking deal, and yeah, I look forward to with bated breath the full release when it comes, whenever they want to do it. This will keep me going until then. But yeah, you imagine what they could do over a full album.
Ooh.
It like boggles the mind. You know, the heavier elements could be heavier. The sheer space for fuckery is unimaginable. So yeah 4.5 is fucking great.
Anus is just getting torn up, just
with
obliterated.
croquet mallets. This is
Bigger.
I don't know. I have an image of like someone's hoop against a hoop of croquet and just the mallet smacking it. I don't know why I have that image, because I don't want it.
Right.
Oh, now I've got it. Thanks.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. Heriot, Profound Morality, out on April 29th on Church Road Records. Links below to their Facebook, to the Bandcamp. Check out the EP. Let us know what you think once you've heard it. That is the review. Thanks for checking it out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.